Hey you guys, this is Enrico. I said that when I saw a hashtag with Korea trending in it, I was like, what did South Korea do this time? Then come to find out it's this whole thing between Filipinos and South Koreans. And it all started with TikTok. Lord have mercy, you know how I feel about TikTok. Ooh, it's like the root of all evil for some type of reason. This famous Filipino TikToker had a tattoo that Korean people felt very offended by because they said it represented the Japanese imperialism. I'm not going to go into all the detail about how the Japanese people treated Korean people like dirt, but they did. You can read up on all of that yourself. I'm not a history textbook. So, Korean viewers started to attack her. It got so bad, she eventually came, she apologized, and they continued to attack her. So, no one, and I mean no one, asked this one Korean person how they felt about the Philippines. But they decided to grace us with their disgusting opinion. And it caused the whole firestorm. Everything was on fire. Filipino people said, wait a minute, hold up. We have helped South Korea out a lot through history and with their pop culture. What in the world is happening? Korean people get online, and it's hard to say just, it's a couple of people, because this is a popular trait in South Korean culture. And they put anything they want online because they know that they would never walk up to anybody, especially someone that's not Korean, and say this to their face unless they've had a little bit too much to drink or they're an older person. They just feel like they can say whatever they want to say and just say such disrespectful things toward people, especially that aren't Korean, and they think that it's okay. And now there are a lot of people in the global community that is calling this out because it's gotten to the point that it's so ridiculous that people have had enough. I don't know why this hasn't been addressed on a more major level, but we as the global community, Filipinos, people who are not Korean, we are going to continue to call this out, but us just calling it out and bringing the heat, okay,
When we bring that heat, everybody want to apologize.
And it's easy for someone who's done wrong to go and apologize and say, I didn't know. But you apologize and then you keep doing the same thing constantly. So then you come to the conclusion that an apology is nothing. So what I need from South Korea is to start showing me with your actions that you actually are apologetic and that it won't happen again. Because it is hurtful when you see a lot of South Korean people shrugging things off and saying that, well, we didn't know, or well, I don't understand how this is such a big issue, and if we did it this way, would this said group be offended? No one cares about someone else's culture and group. We're telling you about our feelings, because I, as a black person, can understand why Korean people would be mad at a symbol that represents their suppression in history, but they can't sympathize with me on seeing blackface and seeing that as a symbol of suppression in my own history, and it's not even history, it still goes on to this day. So I can understand why Filipinos are upset. I want to also take this time to say that my Filipino brothers and sisters, you all are beautiful, you all are educated, you all are everything. You should never let anyone tell you otherwise. There has always been a problem with South Korea and looking down on Southeast Asians. A lot of it is because of the skin color. But they really have no right to tell someone about their poverty in their own country. Especially since South Korea has come from very humble beginnings. It isn't fair that this just keeps happening, and that you get on one side Korean people that are open-minded, and then you get on the other side a whole bunch of Korean people that are not. When I see a very open-minded Korean person, I'm just like, hallelujah. So the Korean people that are unproblematic will sit in front of you and say, well, not all Korean people are like that. But that's not solving the issue, because we constantly keep going back to this, and South Korea offending someone in some type of way. So I'm gonna need the people that are unproblematic to start really talking to the people that are, because it's gonna come down to South Korea changing within itself, not us constantly calling them out. And there's so many people that have and constantly raise their voice to tell South Korea, this is what you need to do to better yourself. And that's what we want. We don't want to hear deflection of them saying, well, you don't understand us, and we're a pure blood nation, and we're a one race nation. We know all of that. We know about the problems that are going on in South Korea. We know how to read. We read up on news that happens there. It's just that all of us are asking that we are showing love to South Korea through K-pop and the pop culture. We should be able to get that same love back. It shouldn't be like a stuck-up attitude toward certain types of people, like they think that they're better than somebody, because it does make the whole nation look bad. And also, South Koreans can't sit up and say don't look at all of us as a collective, because they see themselves as a collective, and then it's easy for them to look at different forms of media and see other races of people as collectives. And then when we say don't do that, they're kind of like, well, that's what we're shown in movies and on TV. But you don't want that to happen to you, so what makes you think that we want you doing that to Filipino people or doing that to black people? It's gonna come to the point where that anti-discrimination law that has been on the table in South Korea forever is finally passed, and that there is a lot of conversation, because I don't think we're gonna get anywhere without a lot of conversation. It's sad that it took a lot of damage for blackface to really start being talked about. It's sad that it takes someone saying something so inappropriate for people to just be up in arms and just be like, okay, we really need to have a conversation now. Because if the conversations don't begin, it's gonna affect how people see South Korea. It's gonna make people stop supporting K-pop. It's gonna make people stop supporting Korean drama or anything that's related to South Korea. And then I don't want South Korean people to say that the global community is bullying them, or that we don't care about Asian people, because at the end of the day, they are doing this to themselves. Say that it's definitely something to think about, and it needs to be thought about long and hard. Because if there's no change, I'm going to be fed up, everybody's going to be fed up. It's just going to be a wrap. So you guys follow my social media, mostly my Instagram. I also have a blog on East Asian pop culture. The link is down in the description box below. And remember, be real, stay real, live in the real. And I will be back.